Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and valuable treasures, a story that captures the imagination of collectors, historians, and everyday people alike, because today we are going to explore the incredible journey of the 2002 D1 cent coin. A simple penny minted in Denver that has shocked the numismatic world by being valued at a staggering $16 million, and the reason behind this breathtaking valuation lies in its unique blend of minting errors, production mistakes, historical context, and the endless possibilities that make such coins rare and sought after. And throughout this deep dive we are going to uncover what exactly happened in 2002 during the minting process, why this particular coin is so special, and how tiny details most people overlook can transform an ordinary copper-plated zinc penny into an artifact worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even small private islands. So sit back and enjoy as we unravel this long and detailed exploration into the world of a coin that changed everything for collectors and coin hunters alike, the 2002 AD penny that is now worth an unbelievable $16 million. And to understand why, we first have to step back and look at the broader history of the penny itself, the changes that occurred in its composition, and the many errors that have made certain issues from the US Mint so rare that they command prices most would never believe, because every coin minted in the United States has the potential to carry with it secrets, flaws, or anomalies that the human eye might not immediately catch, but for collectors these flaws are like treasure maps pointing to immense value. And in 2002 the Denver Mint produced millions upon millions of pennies as usual, all with the familiar Lincoln obverse featuring the portrait first introduced in 1909 and the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial, which had been in use since 1959, but in the middle of these billions of ordinary coins a small handful slipped through the quality controls with errors so extraordinary that their rarity transformed them into priceless artifacts, and the most famous among them, the coin we are discussing, contains a series of mistakes so fascinating that it has been dubbed a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, beginning with the fact that the planchet itself, the blank disc used to strike the coin, may have been a leftover from a previous year or struck on a foreign planchet never intended for US circulation, which already gives it a mysterious aura, because errors related to wrong planchets have historically sold for astronomical amounts at auctions, and when you combine that with striking errors like double dies, misaligned strikes, off-center images, brokerage errors, and even issues with the lettering and mint mark, you begin to see why this coin has captured the imagination of so many. And in the case of the 2002 D penny, the mint mark itself shows irregularities, with some examples displaying a repunch D, where the mint worker or the machinery placed the Denver mint mark twice at slightly different angles, creating a ghost-like double appearance, a detail that collectors obsess over because repunched mint marks can drastically increase value. And then you add the possibility of die cracks, which appear like small raised lines running across the surface of the coin as a result of aging or damaged dies, and suddenly the coin begins to look less like a routine piece of currency and more like a canvas filled with unique accidental artistry. And what really drives the excitement is the combination of multiple errors existing on one coin, because a double die by itself is already rare, but a double die on a coin struck on the wrong planchet with a repunched mint mark and off-center strike creates a perfect storm of numismatic rarity. And the 2002 AD penny that reached the $16 million price tag is exactly that kind of coin, one that embodies the unpredictable chaos of the minting process yet survives as a singular masterpiece. And while most people think of errors as flaws, in the coin collecting world flaws are beauty, flaws are value, flaws are the keys to unimaginable prices. And as we look deeper into this story we realize how many factors had to align for this coin to exist. The machines at the Denver Mint working at high speeds, the immense pressure of producing billions of coins for circulation, the possibility of overlooked foreign planchets in the mix, and the human oversight that failed to catch the mistake before it entered circulation, making its way perhaps through the hands of countless unsuspecting people who never knew they were carrying $16 million in their pocket. And imagine the journey of this coin, perhaps passed at a grocery store or given as change at a gas station, rolling around in a cash register, dropped into a piggy bank, maybe even thrown onto the ground and forgotten, before one sharp-eyed collector noticed something unusual, examined the coin under magnification, and realized that this was no ordinary penny but rather a rare piece of history worth a fortune. And that moment of discovery is what drives so many collectors to search through jars, rolls of coins from banks, or inherited collections. Because the dream of finding a life-changing coin is real, proven by stories like this one, and the 2002 AD Penny shows us that miracles still happen in numismatics, that not all treasures are buried in the ground or hidden in sunken ships. Sometimes they are jingling in your pocket or sitting at the bottom of a drawer, and to understand why the valuation climbed to $16 million, we must also look at the culture of coin auctions and how passionate collectors can drive prices through the roof. Because once the coin was authenticated by grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC and given a high grade like MS67 or higher, the buzz began to build, and wealthy collectors from around the world began competing to own this one-of-a-kind era penny, pushing the price higher and higher until it reached its staggering peak. And part of the appeal lies in the storytelling power of the coin, because each scratch, crack, doubled letter, or off-center strike tells a tale of minting history, of industrial processes gone wrong, of human oversight in a massive system, and people with millions to spend love to own such a narrative, something they can show off to friends, display in collections, or even use as an investment, because coins of this rarity tend to only go up in value over time, and the 2002 AD Penny story has now become a legend whispered among coin roll hunters, collectors, and historians, fueling more searches, more discoveries, and more hope that someone else might get just as lucky. And when you think about it, the possibility of errors is endless. There can be missing letters, weak strikes, rotated dies where the obverse and reverse are misaligned, broad strikes where the coin is struck without a proper collar leading to a stretched appearance, clipped planchets where parts of the coin are missing from the edges, and even mule coins where the obverse of one denomination is accidentally paired with the reverse of another, and any of these mistakes can catapult a coin's value. But when multiple of them occur together like on this 2002 AD penny, the rarity skyrockets to the point where collectors are willing to pay fortunes, and this raises a bigger point about the nature of value itself, because fundamentally a penny is worth 1 cent, but because of human perception, rarity, demand, and historical interest, it can be worth $16 million, showing us how society assigns worth not just based on material but on story, context, and scarcity. And this lesson extends beyond coins into art, collectibles, stamps, and even digital assets. But in the world of physical money, coins remain one of the most enduring and fascinating collectibles, and so when we think of the 2002 AD penny, we must think of it as more than metal, more than currency, but as a symbol of how mistakes can sometimes create beauty, how imperfections can lead to perfection in the eyes of collectors, and how the tiniest object can hold a value greater than most people will ever dream of. And the fact that such a coin exists keeps the thrill of the hunt alive. Because right now as you listen, there might be another era coin sitting unnoticed in a drawer, waiting to be discovered, and who knows, it could be worth millions too, which is why collectors all around the world continue their searches, going through pocket change, buying rolls of pennies, and examining each coin under magnification, hoping to find the next big discovery. And with every era catalogued, every anomaly studied, the field of numismatics grows richer, and the legend of coins like the 2002 AD penny worth $16 million becomes more deeply rooted, inspiring new generations of treasure seekers to believe that fortunes can be found in the smallest places. So remember that every penny tells a story, but some stories are worth millions, and the 2002 AD penny is one of the greatest of them all. Next, 1994 1-cent USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining today's fascinating journey into the incredible world of rare coins, where a small piece of copper-plated zinc can be worth more than most people could ever imagine. And in today's story we will dive deep into the jaw-dropping case of the 1994 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, experts, and enthusiasts alike, because this tiny coin with a face value of just 1 cent has been valued at an unbelievable $15 million. And while at first this might sound like a wild exaggeration or an urban legend, the truth is that the value comes from the extraordinary combination of errors, minting mistakes, production anomalies, and the historical context in which the coin was struck, all of which make it one of the most coveted treasures in numismatic history. So let us peel back the layers and explore why a coin so seemingly ordinary could transform into one of the most valuable collectibles in the world, beginning with the fact that the 1994 1-cent coin came out during an era when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents annually using copper-plated zinc planchets, a process that began in 1982 when copper became too expensive and was replaced with the cheaper zinc core with just a thin layer of copper coating. And while the transition seemed smooth, it opened the door for a variety of minting mistakes because the plating process itself was not perfect, the dies were often overused, and the machinery had to work under high pressure to produce so many coins, which meant that 1994 was a prime year for strange varieties, double dies, misstrikes, off-center strikes, die breaks, planchette errors, and other fascinating anomalies, and the particular coin valued at $15 million is thought to exhibit a mind-blowing combination of these issues, making it essentially a once-in-a-lifetime specimen that collectors dream of finding. For example, one of the most notorious errors that can occur in coins from this era is a double die, where the design elements such as the date, the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, or even Lincoln's profile appear double due to a misalignment during the die-making process. And while many coins with minor doubling can be worth a few hundred or $1,000, the 1994 cent in question is rumored to have a dramatic doubling across multiple areas, with the date itself clearly doubled, the motto showing ghost-like shadows, and Lincoln's eye appearing doubled in such a striking way that it immediately catches the viewer's attention. And when such a strong doubling is combined with additional errors, the rarity and value shoot into the stratosphere. Another factor that makes this coin so valuable is a planchette error, because instead of being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchette, it is believed that some 1994 cents were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets intended for foreign coins or even experimental pieces from the mint, and when you combine a double die with the wrong planchette, you suddenly have a coin that does not just belong in a collector's album but in the annals of history. And experts argue that this coin may show both a double die obverse and a broad strike error where the coin was struck without the collar die in place, causing it to spread out larger than normal. And such dramatic visual differences make it clear that this is not just an ordinary cent. In addition to these major anomalies, minor die breaks and cuds, where parts of the die break off and leave raised, blob-like features on the coin, can also be seen, adding to its uniqueness. And the 1994 cent is said to have a spectacular die crack running across Lincoln's face and connecting into the rim, which gives it even more character. Now let us consider why such a combination would make the coin worth $15 million. Because rarity in the coin world is a matter of numbers, demand, and the story behind the coin. And when only one or a handful of coins show such extraordinary mistakes, the bidding wars among wealthy collectors, museums, and institutions drive the price higher and higher. And in the case of the 1994 1-cent coin, we are talking about a perfect storm, a year of high mint output, a coin that slipped through quality control, a combination of multiple errors that rarely occur together, and an immaculate condition with perhaps a proof-like surface that shows all the details with stunning clarity. And when experts authenticate such a coin and declare it unique, its value transcends its metal content or face value and becomes an artifact of numismatic legend. Furthermore, possibilities surrounding this coin spark even greater intrigue, with some theorists suggesting that experimental planchets may have been deliberately struck by mint employees as test pieces or even smuggled out in rare circumstances, and such stories only add to the mystique, making collectors more eager to acquire it at any cost. And as we analyze the coin, we must not forget the influence of grading, because condition is king in the coin world, and the $15,001,994 cent is believed to be graded at the highest possible levels, possibly mint state 68 or higher, with dazzling luster, razor-sharp details, and no visible wear, which is nearly impossible for a coin of such age and type that was struck for circulation. So having a flawless coin with dramatic errors and unique origins means that it transcends ordinary collecting and becomes a trophy piece for the ultra-wealthy. Some might ask why someone would pay $15 million for a penny when you could buy entire estates or rare works of art for that price. And the answer lies in the psychology of collecting, because collectors value rarity, history, and the idea of owning something no one else in the world can have. And in this case, the 1994 1-cent coin represents a perfect storm of minting chaos, survival against all odds, and beauty in its imperfections, making it more desirable than paintings, cars, or jewelry. As the coin continues to capture the imagination of numismatists, stories about similar errors from the 1990s surface, with coins struck off-center so far that only part of Lincoln's portrait is visible, coins struck on dime planchets that are smaller and thinner than normal, or coins with dramatic brocage where the design was struck from another coin pressed into the die. And while all of these errors can fetch thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, nothing comes close to the $15 million coin, because its uniqueness cannot be replicated. And this fuels speculation that perhaps more such coins exist, hidden away in jars, piggy banks, or old collections, waiting for someone to discover them, which excites both amateur and professional collectors who now examine their 1994 pennies with magnifying glasses, hoping to find the elusive treasure, and in this way the legend of the 1994 1-cent coin grows beyond just its physical form and becomes a cultural phenomenon, inspiring treasure hunters, YouTubers, and everyday people to take a second look at the change in their pocket. And so the story of this coin reminds us of the unpredictability of history, how something as humble as a penny can become worth millions, how human error at the mint can turn into a stroke of fortune for a collector, and how rarity combined with demand creates astronomical values. And the tale of the 1994 cent worth $15 million is not just about a coin, it is about passion, dreams, the thrill of discovery, and the timeless human desire to own something unique. And as we continue to explore this fascinating subject, we must remember that while most coins in circulation are ordinary, a few extraordinary pieces hold secrets that can rewrite the record books. And so the next time you see a 1994 cent, look closely at its date, check for doubling, examine its size, its edges, its weight, its surface, because you might just be holding a piece of history, a fortune disguised as a penny. And while only one such $15 million coin has been authenticated, the possibility of more existing keeps the dream alive for millions of collectors around the world, turning every pocket search into an adventure and every penny into a potential goldmine. And that is why the 1994 1-cent coin has earned its place as one of the most legendary and valuable coins in history. Last 2008 D1-cent USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, a story that takes us straight into the incredible journey of the 2008 D1-cent coin, a coin that you might think of as ordinary pocket change at first glance but which, due to a combination of errors, mistakes, and remarkable circumstances, has been valued at a staggering $14 million, making it one of the most sought after and talked about modern pennies in numismatic history. And as we explore this coin in depth, you'll see how small imperfections, minting mishaps, and unexpected anomalies can turn what should have been just another cent in circulation into a multimillion-dollar treasure that collectors are willing to fight for. So sit back and enjoy as we unravel the details about how this coin became so valuable, what types of errors it contains, why those errors are so significant, and the endless possibilities that elevate its worth to such unimaginable heights. Because the story of this 2008 D penny is not just about the coin itself but about the hidden world of minting where machinery, human oversight, and the sheer unpredictability of production all come together to occasionally produce miracles for collectors. Now when we talk about the 2008 D penny, we are talking about a coin struck at the Denver Mint, and at first nothing about it seemed unusual. Millions upon millions of pennies were struck that year, and most of them entered circulation as normal. But somewhere in that ocean of coins an extraordinary mistake occurred, and that mistake left behind a very limited number of coins with anomalies so rare that even experienced collectors had to pause in awe. One of the most important errors involves a misaligned dice strike where the obverse and reverse designs did not properly line up during the striking process, leading to the Lincoln portrait being slightly off-center in relation to the rim. And although off-center strikes are known in other coins, this particular 2008 D example shows a dramatic shift that still retains the full date and mint mark, making it even more desirable since collectors crave coins that are both visibly unusual and fully identifiable. But that is only the beginning. Because layered on top of the misalignment is evidence of doubling, a type of error known as a double die, where the die itself imprints multiple slightly shifted images during production, and under magnification you can see extra outlines around Lincoln's eye, mouth, and even in the digits of the date, which makes this coin a double die off-center strike hybrid error, something almost never seen. And when you add that to the fact that it happened in such a recent year where mint technology was supposed to have minimized errors, the rarity and curiosity value skyrockets. Beyond that, there are reports of these 2008 D error cents being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning instead of being struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, some examples were accidentally struck on leftover foreign planchets or even dime stock, creating a coin that is the wrong weight, wrong metallic composition, and slightly different in thickness. And when a coin combines multiple types of errors like misalignment, doubling, and wrong planchet, it becomes almost like a perfect storm of collectability. Each individual error might make the coin worth hundreds or thousands, but together they push it into the stratosphere of value where collectors are willing to pay tens of millions just to own a one-of-a-kind specimen. Imagine the excitement of someone who finds such a coin in their change, thinking at first that maybe the penny just looks odd, but upon research realizing that they are holding an item worth $14 million, that is the dream of every treasure hunter and coin enthusiast, and that possibility is what fuels the fascination and high market demand, because people do not just see this coin as a mistake, they see it as a symbol of chance, fortune, and the thrill of discovery. Another factor that makes this coin valuable is its pristine condition, because when error coins are found in circulation they often get damaged or worn down before anyone notices their significance. But in the case of the famous $14 million 2008 AD penny, the surfaces are remarkably sharp, the details are clear, and the luster is intact, suggesting that it may have been pulled from circulation very quickly or perhaps was never truly released for circulation at all, making it not just an error coin but a high-grade error coin, and that combination is a numismatic jackpot, since rarity plus condition equals astronomical prices. Now let's also consider the historical backdrop. 2008 was a year of economic turmoil with the global financial crisis unfolding, so the idea that a penny from that very year, a year associated with financial hardship for so many, could turn out to be worth millions creates a kind of poetic irony, a reminder that even in difficult times hidden treasures can appear. And collectors are often motivated by stories as much as by the physical coin itself, and so this narrative adds even more depth to the appeal. Speculation also plays a role in pushing the value higher, because in numismatics, just like in art or real estate, the perception of rarity and importance can fuel bidding wars. So when word spread about the 2008 D penny with its cascade of errors, wealthy collectors and investors began competing fiercely to own it, each pushing the value further upward until the price tag reached the incredible $14 million mark. And in the world of rare collectibles, once a price like that is set, it becomes a benchmark, anchoring future valuations and ensuring that the coin remains in the spotlight. Let's break down the possible error types one by one, because each adds a layer of intrigue. First, the double die, where the doubling of letters and numbers creates a kind of ghost image, is among the most coveted error types in all US coinage history, and for a modern Lincoln cent to have such bold doubling is practically unheard of. Second, the misaligned die strike not only shifts the portrait but also warps the rim shape, giving the coin a visually striking and unmistakable appearance. Third, the possibility of a broad strike where the collar die fails and the coin spreads beyond its usual boundary, giving it a larger than normal diameter. And fourth, the wrong planchette strikes that can lead to coins with lighter or heavier weights than expected. And when a single coin shows evidence of multiple categories of error, its uniqueness is undeniable, because it means that no other coin in the world is exactly like it. And uniqueness is the golden ticket in collectibles. Another fascinating element lies in how such a coin even came to exist, since by 2008 minting technology had improved significantly, reducing the chance of errors compared to earlier decades, yet perfection is impossible and human oversight remains a factor, so whether it was due to improperly set dies, leftover planchets in the hoppers, or quality control oversights, the 2008 D penny slipped through the cracks, and its very existence is a testament to how even in a system designed for precision, mistakes can and do happen, and those mistakes can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Collectors often compare this 2008 D penny to other famous error coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1943 copper cent, or the 1972 double die cent, each of which commands huge sums at auction, but the 2008 D stands apart because of the sheer number of error types it combines and the fact that it belongs to such a modern era where major mistakes are exceedingly rare. So it bridges the gap between classic error coins and contemporary minting marvels, making it highly desirable across multiple generations of collectors. The psychological aspect also cannot be ignored, because people are drawn to the idea that something as small and common as a penny could secretly be worth millions. It captures the imagination and drives interest in checking everyday change, and this cycle of curiosity keeps demand high, as more and more people become aware of the story and want to be a part of the chase. Adding to the mystique are rumors that more than one example may exist, though no other confirmed $14 million specimen has surfaced. The possibility that there could be a few more hiding in collections or in circulation somewhere keeps the excitement alive, and just the thought that someone might unknowingly spend or receive one at a store keeps the legend growing, a legend that pushes collectors to pay even more to secure the known example, knowing that if it remains unique its value will only continue to rise. The coin market also thrives on provenance, meaning the history of who has owned a coin, and in the case of the 2008 D penny, its chain of ownership includes prominent collectors and investors, each adding credibility and prestige, and when a coin carries that kind of pedigree, it becomes even more appealing to future buyers who see it not just as a coin but as a piece of history with a story of famous hands it has passed through. All of these factors, the technical minting errors, the aesthetic uniqueness, the historical timing, the speculative frenzy, the psychological allure, and the prestigious ownership trail, come together to elevate this coin to its $14 million valuation, and while to some it may seem unbelievable that a penny could be worth so much, in the world of collectibles value is not about the face number on the coin but about rarity, demand, story,